Awesome. United envisions 2026 having some amazing conversations with people from organizations, companies, and industry who are working on sight-saving research that's really applicable to our entire community of race against blindness, and that is what we are so interested in. So I'm really excited to get to have a conversation with Dr. Jami Kern from Nacuity. So thank you so much for coming over and chatting with us.
Thank you for having me. It's a great conference, and we're excited to be part of it.
Well, we are the excited ones because while we are here as fundraisers and grant makers to the foundation, we are first the family who is affected by this, and so much of our community is affected by this in some way, whether individuals or family members. So hearing from people who are doing research and working on this and trying to find solutions and treatments and therapies, it's so uplifting and hopeful, and it's exciting. So really excited to hear about what you guys are working on. So tell us a little bit about your role and about Nacuity.
Okay. Well, first I'd just like to say it's really a pleasure to be here and be able to interact with the families and the patients. My role at Nacuity is a Chief Clinical Officer. I run all of the clinical programs there. We have about 5 going on right now. So it's a big job. There are only 5 of us who work at Nacuity, so it's a very small company. So we roll up our sleeves and do what we can and partner with amazing people. But I don't have very much opportunity to get to meet the patients directly and hear from them. And so this kind of conference that the FFB puts on every year is a really incredible opportunity to me to be able to have those conversations and to be able to hear from you what's important and what your challenges are, and as I'm designing a clinical trial, what I can do within the design of the trial to make it easier, to make it something that you can participate in a little bit easier if I can. So it's really a pleasure to be here. Nacuity, our top lead asset is NACA. We call it NPI-001 internally, but it's N-acetylcysteine amide. So it's the amide form of NAC. And probably many people have heard about NAC and the NAC attack study, and that's ongoing. It's been fully enrolled for RP patients, and they expect to have a readout, I think, in late 29, about in 4 years. So that study is ongoing. We'll learn something about how it works. But NACA is the amide form. The amide makes the molecule more bioavailable. It means it gets into the back of the eye a little bit better than what NAC can do on its own. So what it does effectively is limit how much you have to take. It's an oral pill. You take it 1 pill in the morning, 1 pill in the evening, and it just minimizes what you have to take orally, which should also, make it a little bit more tolerable, especially for something that you're dosing day over day over day.
And I understand NAC in general, for some people, can kind of have some side effects. It's not the most tolerable thing to take in high doses.
Right.
So does this help kind of limit that downside of it from a side effect standpoint?
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah.
The data will tell, but one of the things that the NAC attack trial will decide or will help us understand is if that high dose NAC, they're taking 1,800 milligrams twice a day, so 3 effervescent tablets that they take in their water in the morning and then the same thing at night. It's a pretty high dose.
Yeah.
And we don't know yet if that dose is enough to get enough NAC to the back of the eye in order to do something or not. We hope it is. For some patients, I think it has been tolerable. I have heard from investigators that for some patients, they're having a little bit of GI upset and things. And, that may be acceptable for some, but if there's an alternative that doesn't have that side effect, obviously, we're hoping to be that. So we did a clinical study in Australia. We called it our phase 2 study. Patients were dosing on NAC, some up to 5 years. We have data on patients up to 5 years, and we did not see those side effects at all. In fact, it was a very clean safety profile so far. Now, limited numbers, it was only 49 patients. So, it's a small community, and it's, it's hard to get big numbers, but we are very encouraged by the results so far.
Amazing. So one of the things I've been talking about throughout the week here and trying to educate some of our audience about and people who are learning about these potential therapies is the buckets that all these things kind of fall into, which is early stage interventions to prevent, loss of vision, or late stage interventions to restore vision, and then the gene specific therapies and gene agnostic therapies.
Yeah.
So can you kind of tell us where NACA fits into those 4 buckets?
Yeah, the cool thing about NACA is it probably is going to be helpful at any of those stages, and also can be very helpful to use in companionship with some of the other treatments that are available as they become available. So it's likely going to be part of a regimen if it works, regardless. It's a small molecule antioxidant, so it does some really nice things. It increases the glutathione in your cells, that basically is your body's way of protecting it against that oxidative stress. So in the trial results that we just have looked at through 3 years, what I think I can share with you is we had patients with a range, and we looked at cohorts that were earlier in the disease and cohorts that were a little bit later in the disease. And again, the study itself was small, and then we were slicing it even more. But the cool thing about it was even those patients who came in who were pretty late in their disease, and I can't say late disease. They were required to have a certain level of fixation and a certain level of retinal sensitivity. But for those patients who met those criteria but still were kind of on the edge, we saw still a statistically significant effect.
Awesome.
So it was certainly a dampened effect. You would expect that because the progression is slowing down, and the ways that we test it are not that sensitive when you get down into those lower levels. But I was very encouraged to see that even for those patients who were pretty far progressed, that it seemed to be working.
Amazing.
But for sure, the early stage patients, they saw the biggest improvement.
And I know you guys are only testing it in certain gene mutations right now, but theoretically this is, what's going to fall in the category of a gene-agnostic therapy.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should theoretically work for anyone who has a disease that has a component of oxidative stress, which is a lot of them, most of them. And we are focused on, at the moment, Usher syndrome, just because it's sort of a nice size group, but not so big that we have too much variability, and because we're a small company and we can't afford to do a huge trial, so we're trying to balance all of that. But if we see the results that we're seeing, if we continue to see the results that we're seeing, there's no reason to believe that it wouldn't expand. And in fact, we are hoping to attain a little bit more funding in order to do an additional trial in an expanded population in parallel. So we're working on raising the funds now in order to do that.
Awesome. So you said the word funding. That's what we're all about. We're a fundraising organization. We have a ton of amazing donors who have made the support we've been able to do possible. Can you just kind of tell us what philanthropy, fundraising, donations, venture philanthropy, what that means to, progressing research, and especially to a smaller company who's really trying to do something hard and do something for a rare disease? Can you just kind of give us like a big picture overview what that really means so our donors can understand the impact that they're helping have?
Absolutely. So in one word, we would not be here without donors like you. The FFB is our largest donor. We have lots of donors. We're lucky and blessed to have lots of donors who have supported us over the years that we've been in business since 2017. But without the FFB, we wouldn't be here. And without donors who are willing to take the risk and to support small companies like us, we wouldn't be here. These approaches, even one as simple as an oral tablet, which is what we are, the studies cost millions of dollars.
Yep.
It's just an expensive thing to develop. We do everything we can to be efficient. One of the reasons we're such a small company still, and I think we've been pretty effective at that, but without the support of people like you, of the Foundation Fighting Blindness, other family groups who donate, it just wouldn't be possible. We would not have gotten this far, for sure.
Yeah, I try to just, re-emphasize that to anybody who is learning about how medical research works and fundraising. there is such a gap for rare diseases, small diseases, that the fundraising is what makes it possible. Like it is not possible without the philanthropy, the fundraising, people giving donations. And it does translate to real impact and real patients getting affected,
We hope so.
I mean, but you even look at something like Luxturna, like,
Absolutely.
that is an FDA-approved therapy that was heavily supported by, the National Eye Institute, philanthropy donors, the foundation, and eventually it came through to be, something that was supported. So, those type of success stories are what people need to understand is possible by, supporting and being a part of this. And there's no guarantees in research, and that's why it's research and that's why it's a trial. But these therapies are made possible by people donating, being a part of it. So I just, want to underscore that for anybody who's listening and wanting to understand the impact that it's having. And we're certainly very excited about, what's happening in the space, especially for something like this where, there's a lot of excitement in the community about NACA, et cetera. So we're really grateful to be a part of it and follow along and hear what's going to happen in the future. So thank you for sharing all this with us. Really, really appreciate all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I might just say one more thing.
Please.
You sort of prompted me to think about it.
Yeah.
One of the things that the Foundation Fighting Blindness does is support natural history studies.
Yes.
And they basically follow patients as they go through their disease progression and help us understand how the disease progresses, how quickly or slowly it progresses, what endpoints might be useful. And they're rushed to a study, for example, so this is a natural history study in Usher 2A, was, in my opinion, instrumental in how I designed the trial in order to focus to the right patient population in order to get a statistical difference in an endpoint that was going to be meaningful to us as well as to the FDA. So outside of just funding companies, the FFB does that work as well, and it's just absolutely, I can't say enough about how critical it is. But thank you for having me, and thank you for all of your support, and happy to be here with you at the Visions meeting.
Yes, it's been a great meeting, and we are grateful for all the scientists, everybody working on this, everybody in the industry who is trying to, we're all on the same team, we're all working towards that same goal. And the thing that I think is so special is even though there's different companies and organizations, it doesn't feel like there's competition at all.
No.
I feel like, we went to a gene therapy conference. We've done it twice in a row, 2 different times. All the same type of companies are here are at that conference as well. And everybody's sharing their knowledge. Everybody's sharing their collective experiences. Hey, we did this with endpoints, and this is what we found that worked well, and this is what we did with our trial design, and this is what we found worked well. And these are all theoretically like competing companies. But they're not competing. They just want what's best. Like, small companies like this are not in it to, make, Pfizer bucks. Like it just, that's not the mindset. Like I just don't get that from like the people who are working on this stuff. And it's just so cool to see everybody working together, sharing knowledge, best practices, lessons learned, and just trying to get to real treatments that can help patients, which is what we all need. And there's been a drought of treatments for so long, and now it's here. And like I get welled up thinking about it because like we're a family. I got goosebumps. Like this.
Absolutely.
When we started all this, there was no treatments, no therapies. We're all just sitting here like, okay, this is going to happen, and I got to sit back and watch it. And now there's like things happening, so it's really, really cool.
It's an exciting time, and you're absolutely right. It's a unique community. I worked at Alcon for many years, and that was a great experience, but it's a very different experience. And I think the people who are here because they have that passion for addressing something that no one else is paying as much attention to. So.
Well, thank you so much for the work you're doing and for being here and sharing your knowledge and experience with our community as well.
Thank you very much.
Yes, likewise.
Appreciate it.
It's really nice to meet you.
Good to meet you as well.